Alice here with Change Your Aim, Change Your Life. And I want to come to you today to talk about an issue that's been coming up a lot that I get from emails and discussions with people, with women from different areas of the globe. Somebody in the Middle East, somebody in Europe, somebody in California. None of these women know each other, but the same issues keep coming up. So I wanted to tackle the issue of, it's under a category that I like to call, who are you really? And also that involves a shift deep in our core, in our soul of our being. And I will explain what that means. You see, some of the women that I've been in touch with they're incredible people. They're just incredible women, intelligent and bright and mothers, and going about their day working and being the best they can be under very, very different and difficult circumstances in their life, each one. And each one really desires, as I did, as I think all of us do, desire to really change, a desire to really rise above that mediocrity, a desire to really change that aim inside us so it's directed toward our dreams and goals, and that we can be successful in life, whatever that means for you. And it just so happens that during this time, this week, with these interactions through email, I have been writing my book and just wrote a chapter about who are we really. And it all just kind of came together. So I just wanted to share with you, and it's very involved, and even in the book, it's hard to get in depth with everything, which is why my heart and soul is to doing these workshops with the living room effect. And the living room effect is something I will explain later, maybe in another video. But suffice it to say that my passion is to really work in a small group with women in a workshop to get across these concepts that I believe will really help move you forward in life. And the point of which I want to make is, who are we really? I know I've discussed in other videos about when we are hurt in childhood, when we are humiliated, when we are abused or embarrassed, or even feelings of abandonment and neglect, whatever those deep issues are for you. What happens universally in all of us is we want to feel good. We want to feel like we matter. We want to know that we're loved. So we develop these coping mechanisms to cope with what has happened to us, regardless of what it is. I mean, I believe me, I have heard intense, sad horror stories of people, how they were raised. And these people are my heroes because they are alive and they're trying to do their best, and they want to change, and they want to get these old ghosts, so to speak, out of their life. Well, what I have come up with, and the concepts that I believe are very important, come from two different angles. One is from the outside. One is from getting help, and talking about it, and grieving and writing and doing whatever you need to do to get it out like this on the outside. I'm all for therapy. I'm all for counseling and getting help that way. But I also have discovered from women that even though years of doing that, and they've come a long way, there's still a battle inside them that they want to get rid of. When we can adjust and readjust our coping mechanisms from what we had to do in childhood, and readjust them as adults, that's one issue that is, well, it's a big issue to change. So in other words, when we have these coping mechanisms that we develop in childhood, I mean, it can be anything for anybody. Everybody's personality is different. But let's say, for the heck of it, a certain child will develop just this hard shell because they have to. They have to because they are being hurt at home, beaten at home, verbally abused at home, whatever the issue was. And then they have to get up and go to school. And they have to be somebody. They have to feel like they fit in and they want friends. And you know, that growing up years are hard anyway for all of us, to learn to socialize and to adapt and to make friends. So when you have these issues at home that are hurtful and sad, and you're coping with that, not even knowing how to cope, but our brilliant minds help us and give us the ability to cope, then for some people it might be, I'm just you know, I'm just going to be hard. I'm just going to be, you know, standoffish, and you know, I'll smile at people, but no one's really going to get to know me. So they develop this demeanor of being kind of, you know, you can only come this far, and they don't have a sense of real intimacy or trust that's developed with other people. Then they bring that into adulthood, and they have this persona that not suddenly, but over the years, because of these coping mechanisms, because of it builds the neuro-pathways in the brain to think and feel this way, which develop habits, which develop belief systems. So you grow up and believe that, well, that's just who I am. That's just who I am. And it's really not who you really are. Very little of who we are, who we think we are, is really who we are. So saying that part of it, I want to give a different perspective of how we come across, how we can change, because I want us to look at those issues when we say, well, that's just who I am. But you know deep down it's not. You know you want your life to be different. You know you want to feel better about who you are, and to drop the persona. You don't even know it's a persona, but it develops like that. So here I am speaking these words to try and bring awareness to you and to all of us that it's now safe to come out of hiding. It's now safe to drop the shame and drop the pain. And yes, of course, it needs to be, there's a certain dependability, there's a certain security with hanging on to our story. There's a certain equilibrium that's given to us because we're hanging on to it and we're balancing of, you know, who we are. We've learned to balance this way, even though it's crooked, okay? So when we drop it, we suddenly need to have something to take over that balance, to keep us balanced while we straighten up. And that's where that shift comes in. This is the second part of the point I want to make. There's a shift that comes to us deep, deep inside. Sometimes we hear it and we ignore it. But it's a shift that is, I know that I know that I know I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to think and have these memories. I don't want to suffer these thoughts and feelings of inadequacies, either old memories, body memories, or even self-sabotaging thoughts and belief systems of I hate myself, I'm not good enough, and I can't, I'm not smart enough, nobody loves me, I'm not lovable, you name it, whatever negative thing you want to throw in there. Those are just thoughts. Those are just old belief systems that we don't need anymore. And yes, they can be cut and put away. Does it take time? Yes, but it takes commitment to take the emotional and mental tools that I have hopefully have given you in the other videos, and my goal to pass on in the workshops and in the book, so that you have actual tools to use to break the cycle of self-sabotaging belief systems, self-sabotaging thoughts of hating yourself and feeling dirty or feeling gross or not smart enough, whatever, like I said, whatever you describe yourself or the thoughts you may have, because we are not our past. It is over with. It's done. Was it horrible for a lot of us? Absolutely. Was it tragic? Yes. But I believe with my whole heart that we are on this planet to make a change. And I believe that those things in our lives can be not only overcome, but be the very foundation to make us better people. I do. I really do. And there are enough people on this planet who have made that so for their life. We don't have to remain victims. We don't have to remain always in a situation where our mindset is, oh, woe is me, or, Murphy's Law, or all those negative thoughts. I mean, when we produce thoughts like that, thoughts are energy. Thoughts are real energy, and thoughts become things. So when we keep thinking, and I've had this problem, when we keep thinking the negative or the worst things in life about the world, about ourselves, about our family, about someone else, they'll only continue that way because that's what we think about it. When we change our mind and our concepts of life, of ourselves, of other people, then the good starts coming in. And I know that sounds simple and easy, but guess what? It kind of is. The hard part is practicing it and to make that a habit in our lives. So that's what I want to talk to you about. And I know that it's huge, but I really believe that when we can readjust and understand old coping mechanisms that we drag into adulthood and understand that concept and what that is for us and change them, that's shift number one. Shift number two is the awareness of deep down saying enough is enough. I'm better than this, and I am not going to waste one more day of my life dwelling on my past. I'm not going to, not only, now hear me, because some people will ignore their past. In other words, they'll pretend nothing happened. They'll act like, oh, why talk about it? I don't want to go there. Well, I understand that. I think a lot of us understand we don't want to go there because it's painful, or why dredge it up, or all this time has passed. The only reason we want, we want to do that is because when we ignore it, the old coping mechanisms are still at play. The 90% of this, or 95% of your subconscious is still running your life. Your old belief systems. I mean, look around you. Look how you live. Look at the people you work with, deal with. Who are your friends? What is your income? How do you think about yourself? What do you dress like? What do you look like? Would you like to feel better? Would you like to look better? Would you like to have better friends? Would you like to be in the company of people that you admire and want to learn from? We can. That's the thing. We can. You can. And it's a shift in our mindset. It sounds simple, but sometimes we need to move mountains to make it happen for us. But you'll know when you go, enough. I do want help. I do want to change how I feel about myself. I do want to make that shift. I don't want to think about my past anymore. I don't want it to affect me. So even if we're not thinking about it, it's still there. It's still in the subconscious, and we're still acting out unless we address it. And I don't want you to feel ashamed about addressing it. I don't want you to feel embarrassed about addressing it. And this is why I say I'm a shame buster, because it's that very shame or timidness or feeling, well, if somebody finds out, I was abused as a child, oh my gosh. You know what? That is false shame, and you have no reason to feel that way whatsoever. I'm not saying shout it to the rooftops, no, but I am saying that's the very same feeling that's keeping you from growing and from changing and from having the life that you want. So that's all I want to say for today. And like I said, I've been in touch with some people who've wanted a little more input on that, so I wanted to do this video. And I want to encourage you to be the best that you can be. I want to encourage you to put shame in its place, which is in a box drifting off, sinking down to the ocean. It's not needed. And let's do this, okay? Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to listen. And if you have any questions, please, please, please email me at maryalice.changeyouraim@gmail.com. I'll be glad to read and hear your comments. And comment below if you'd like to. God bless you. Take care. And have a great day. And I'm going to click off. Bye-bye, everybody.